Peer through the trees and look into their eyes and realize that your head exploded and you're staring at them out of the stump of your neck. So grateful for the new perspective, your insides are left grinning. These are no secrets. When you hold Jennifer's hand, you'll notice that you're literally giving birth to chickens. They squawk forth bearing eggs filled with tiny pieces of paper on which are written visions of the future. When you hold Jim Bob's hand, you become a fetus, freestyle rapping about the preciousness of life on the 18th hole of a golf course in Hong Kong at midnight. When you kiss Jennifer, your ears fall off. And elves climb forth out of your head to comb your hair. They stand on the smooth strands of your bobbing head and pick clouds out of the sky. They feed these clouds into your gaping, astonished maw, and you'll never be hungry again. When you kiss Jim Bob and you really listen, you'll hear the birth of a hippopotamus on the other side of the world. Get this. Every time someone kisses Jim Bob, he uses his power to create a new hippopotamus for the earth. If you stare into Jennifer's eyes, you'll see the time she gave birth to the Red Sea and then swam in her newborn baby body of water. Just ask the Red Sea who its mom is. It'll tell you. If you stare into Jim Bob's eyes and watch closely, you'll see the epic genealogy of his past lives emerge to say hello. Yeah. He is an old Chinese man who passed gas on the Great Wall of China. He is an old woman who lived in a shoe. He is an alien life form who speaks in squeaks out of the puffed up lower half of his face, whose eyes sag down to wrap under his chin, and who ran into Earth by accident millions of years ago and decided to stay. These are no secrets. One of Jennifer's lungs is an accordion. One of Jim Bob's lungs is a bagpipe. They had surgery and donated them to one another. During the surgery, they lay side by side, while tiny naked doctors with angels' wings fluttered above them, cutting them open with scalpels made from the gods' toenails, pulling out their organs and using them to play rugby before putting them back into the open body of these two lovers. During the operation, the two held hands and stared, smirking into one another's eyes, and with tears welling up, Jim Bob spoke these words: "I'll only marry you if you have surgery to get elf ears." And Jennifer sighed in response with her own tears welling up in her eyes. And Jim Bob replied to her sighs with tears spraying forth from his eyes. He said, "So will you marry me?" To which Jennifer softly replied with tears spraying forth from her eyes, "Yes, I'm interested in getting elf ears." So they were engaged to be wed on the operating table, with tears roaring, flooding, pouring forth from their eyes. And they floated on the salty ocean, they cried. And Nico Case climbed out of the sky with a spoon for a guitar and strummed a love song that reversed time. And the song swallowed the fluttering naked doctors with their godly toenail scalpels and consumed the salty ocean of tears and drank up these two lovers whole. And everything went with them until all that was left was nothing. And nothing giggled because it's tickled to exist. And after all this, they were spilled back into the universe, and Robert Mitchum met them on the sun-spotted plains of the Old West and told them they changed his life. Holding hands, they smiled and thanked him as their horse picked them up in its arms and ran them off into the sunset, which just so happened to be our front door. And they knocked, and we opened it. And you and I recognized them and knew the age-old dust in their hair and remembered the smell of love that they brought with them. And thank God we knew to let them enter our homes. Because before we could ask them what they need, they fed us and bathed us and tucked us into our bed in the way that we've always missed. And they sang us to sleep while holding one another in love. And now, we're still asleep. And this is a dream we're all sharing. As these two watch over us, sitting in one another's arms. Jim, Bob, and Jennifer, we acknowledge you for giving us this dream, for creating this life, for wrapping your fingers around the edge of the world and stretching it until it doesn't remember what it was and became something it never has been. And by this transformation of reality, each of us have come to realize that we are something beyond what we've ever known ourselves to be. We acknowledge you for falling in love with us and for letting us fall in love with you, and finally, for giving us the gift of falling in love with each other.